There we go. So, just like I said, I hope everyone's doing well. Hope you're all hanging in there. And before we get started, like I said, I just muted you all so there wouldn't be feedback. But if you do have questions, you can unmute yourself or you can type in the chat. I'll just start something saying good morning. Hope you all see it in the chat there. But now we have 15 people. Again, I appreciate you all being here. Makes my life a little bit easier that we're all here. So what I want to do now is I just want to do a brief overview of everything going on, give you updates, make sure we're all on the same page. Make sure if you have any questions, we answer it now before we jump into content, knowledge, material. So what I want to do is I actually do want to share the assignment schedule. All right. So everything in yellow is past due. Okay. So everything in yellow, which is all Go Formative stuff. The only thing again that is non-Go Formative is the USA Test Prep extra credit. All right. About that last class for you, the extra credit opportunity credit recovery for this semester only. So if you see all this and you know you've only done a couple things, there's still more things to complete. All right. And the only thing we're going to submit this week is this one assignment. All right. So we're just going to assign the probability review. So it's just going to be generally overview, a few questions on probability, make sure we understand that before we move forward. I'll share this again with you guys so you guys can see it, but I do want to show you a calendar. So let me pull up the calendar here. If I can find it, should be right. There it is. For our calendar, so we are here on the 14th. Obviously, the calendar is a little bit different now. I had to make adjustments due to us not being in class. But as you can see here, what we're going to be focusing on for the next few weeks until final week, and I'll explain all that later. We're going to be focusing on prioritized standards for the semester. So this week, we're working on probability review on this standard. Next week, we'll be working on this standard. The week after, we'll be focusing on 2 standards. The week after that, 1 standard and 1 more standard. And I'll explain what these standards are. So really, if you guys can see here, we have 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, about 5.5 weeks left of school. All right. We're still ending on the 22nd. So we still have 5.5 weeks of material to go over. Now, with that being said, now there was a little bit different policy that got put out there. And I'm going to say this slowly and surely to make sure everyone understands this. Fulton County Board met the week before spring break. All right. New policy came out and said that for those grades from March 12th, those grades cannot be lowered. All right, I'm going to say that again. All the grades that we had before March 12th will not be lowered with all the digital learning. But here's the catch. It can only be raised with all the work that we're doing. And for those who are not participating, but which everyone in here has been doing a great job, I'm just going to say this. There is a slight chance you run at risk if you don't do any work to get an incomplete for this semester. So if you know someone's like, oh, I'm not going to do anything, or if you're not going to do anything, just know that you run a risk at getting an incomplete for not doing any work. All right. So let me repeat that again. Policy that came out, now they're trying to finalize this policy. March 12th grade. So on March 12th, if you had a 75%, that 75% cannot be lowered below a 75. It can only improve on the grades you're working on right now. But if you do not do any work, do not join any live meetings, your grade, you're running at risk to potentially get an incomplete for the course for this semester. So with that being said, I know I had a few of you ask questions on that. saying, why is my grades changing? I had to unsubmit all grades and resubmit grades, so it's been taking me a while. But if I put of your work in the grade book and it brings your grade down, what I do is I put the grade in, but then I exempt it. So you can see what grade you got. You can always improve those grades except for the quiz grades. So let's say you got an 80% on the assignment and you still want to get that 100, you can go back and get that 100%, but you have to let me know that you changed it. So again, your grades can only improve from here. That being said, I highly suggest that all of you guys take advantage of this time, because it's real important that we take advantage of something that's given to you to raise your grade and not hurt it. You can't really do anything except for just try and do your best here. But it is expected us to do all the work. I do want you guys to try your hardest, try your best and all this, because essentially it's a freebie that you can only improve your grade from here out. Okay? But again, if you know someone or if you decide not to do anything, you run at risk to get an I on your grade if you don't do anything. Okay? So I just want to say that before we move on. Does anybody have questions? You can unmute yourself. You could text in the chat if you have questions on that. I just want to put that out there before we move forward on the content.
All classes, correct?
Nyla, what's that?
That's for all classes, like the policy?
So yeah, that's the board. So Fulton County Board met, and that was the policy that was released before we left on spring break. Now they're finalizing that idea, but right now it could change a little bit. But right now, that is what the policy is saying: is your grade can't drop below what your grade was on March 12th, but you run at risk to get an I if you don't do anything, which means you would have to take summer school or retake the semester later on. So I hope that makes sense. I just want to let you know that this is a huge opportunity for you guys just to improve. There really is no stress. Please don't stress. Like if you're an 85 and you want to get that 90, just do your work. Work. Ask questions. Do the extra credit. Show up to the live classes, which is extra credit. And get those free points to bring that grade up. So I hope that made sense. I hope you guys can pass that along to your friends at school, because if you're a different county, it could be a little bit different. So just at Tri-Cities. And again, they are meeting still more about that, but I just want to put that, that's what was said to us right now. All right. No one has any more questions. I do want to look at the assignment that we assigned you guys last week and a half ago before spring break. There was a couple questions I had. Let's see here. So before break, we gave you guys an assignment based off mainly conditional probability, independent, dependent, and or statements. There was a few of those concepts that we had on there. If you guys have questions on that assignment, what I would suggest you to do is pull it up, because what I'm going to do is I'm just going to look at some of the lowest performing questions. I know some of them are higher performing because they were multiple choice, but that doesn't mean if you didn't have questions, go ahead and ask. Again, you can type in the chat. You guys can unmute yourself and ask a question, however you want to do it. But let me pull up here. And I believe we look at the first section. Let's see here. Your responses. Question 6. Question 8. So let's see here. 6 and 8. Let me share my screen so you guys can see it. So question 6 and question 8 were the lowest performing from this section. Pull these up. Now, before I jump into the actual assignments, what I want you guys to see here is this section please read carefully, because you see here it says use the table to answer questions 1 through 15. So when we see that, we need to make sure that we're looking at the table and make sure it still applies to the questions that we're using. Now tables, we've done plenty of tables in our classes when we were in face-to-face. So hopefully that it wasn't a shock to see these. I know we did a bunch of warm-ups. We did a preview of probability before you guys left too on this. It says question 6, do you think the probability of liking bowling is dependent on whether the student is in 10th or 11th grade? Oh, because here's the data right here, because they cut and paste. All right, so if we look at here, they had 100 students about the social event. 100 students were surveyed, 50 were 10th graders, 50 were 11th graders. Of the 10th graders, 30 choose a bowling party, and 20 choose a dance, and then so on and so forth. So when making this table, let me make it on my screen here. Bear me with a second here. Read carefully and see all the variables before you move on. So we had a table. Let me switch screens here. Table. And they had so 10th and 11th graders. And then we had people who chose bowling, people who chose dancing, and then we have our total. All right. So of the problem, they said 100 people were interviewed. Well, the total for everything should be 100. There was 50 10th graders and 50 11th graders interviewed. All right. So these two lines should make sure you add up to the bottom line. All right. There was a total of 100 people interviewed. And they said here, the 10th graders, 30 chose bowling party and 20 chose dancing. So 30 chose bowling, 20 chose dancing. And then the other way around, it was 20 bowling, 30 dancing. And notice this goes 50, this goes 50, 50 plus 50 gives me 100. So before you even move on with these problems, make sure your two-way frequency table actually makes sense. All right? It should add to the totals. Make sure you understand where the totals represent. Make sure you understand all the numbers are in place. But hopefully we're good here. Does anybody have any questions on frequency tables? Okay. So the question said, do you think the probability of liking bowling is dependent on whether a student is in 11th or 10th grade? So if we look at 11th and 10th grade and we look at bowling, 10th grade had 30 bowling, 11th grade had bowling. Now, the question says, do you think that the probability of liking bowling is dependent on whether a student is in 10th and 11th grade? So if we look at the probability of 10th graders liking bowling, probability of 10th graders liking, actually it would be, oops, it's backwards. Probability of liking bowling given 10th grade, that's how we would write it, would be 30 out of 50, or 3/5. And the probability of liking bowling given 11th grade is 20 out of 50. Oops, it's kind of hard to remember, which is 2/5. Okay. So is it dependent on whether it's 10th or 11th grade? And the answer should be yes. It is dependent because they are at different rates. These are not the same. They're different rates, so it is depending on which grade you're looking at. So when we see these, they're dependent because they're different rates here. Right. Anybody have questions on that concept? Notice where I have this is a given statement. This is called a given statement. Probability of liking bowling given. Oops, I don't want to write like that. Probability of liking bowling given the 10th grade. All right. Probably liking bowling given 10th grade. That's how we would say it. Question 8. Question 8. Let's go to the next one. Let's see here. Eight. Oh, you guys can see the answers anyways, but here. Zoom in here. Okay, so it says the table shows the result of a customer satisfaction survey for a cellular service provider by location customer. In the survey, customers were asked whether they would recommend a plan with a provider to a friend and given before. So it says here, find the probability of yes. I'm not sure why this one was so low, but if you look at probability of yes, you would just go to yes, probability given yes. So you look at the yes row, you would add 40, 35, 41, and you would get 81 plus 35, 116. So 116 is total for yes. No was 18 plus 10 plus 6, 34. So 116 over 150. Oops. Will get you 58 over 75. So of the yeses, there was 116 yeses out of 150 surveyed. So 116 over 150. Make sure you simplify the fraction. All right. These have to be simplified. Simplify the fractions best as you can when you do these. All right. Any other questions before we move on, given those statements? I was hoping this conditional probably actually did pretty well. I'm glad you guys did well on that. And or statements. This part right here is really important. Right here is really important. And statements. If they're independent, which means the rates don't matter to each other. For instance, the probability of it snowing and the probability of me eating breakfast are independent of each other because they don't really affect each other. I'm always going to eat breakfast no matter if it's snowing or not. I guess that's a bad example, but independent events are always, they don't depend. Like it doesn't matter what they do to each other. Dependent, it depends on it. So for instance, a dependent event would be there's a bag of marbles and the first time I pull one out, marble out, let's say there's 10 marbles, I pull the marble out, but I don't put it back. So the second time I pull it out, it's now going to be 9 marbles. So the probability changes. All right. So it's depending on the first pull. So if we go down here, what I want to look at was, I think 17. Yeah, I'll take it 17. 17 right here. The probability that student owns a car is 65%, and the probability that a student owns a computer is 82%. If the probability that a student owns both is 55%, what is the probability that a randomly selected student owns a car or a computer? Okay, here's an or statement. So we'll get to that in a second. What is the probability that a randomly selected student does not own a car or a computer? All right, I think I know why a lot of people got this wrong because there was 2 questions and I didn't get a chance to go through all these. So just take a second here. And I want you guys to see if you guys can figure that out. All right. Or look at your answers, see what you guys got, so you know what you're talking about here. Get my work showing in a second. Does anybody having a suggestion how they did this before I show you? See if I can find.
I can't see the question.
Oh, yeah, I hit it. Sorry, I was trying to pull up my work. I'll reshare it. Hold on 1 second here. Here it is. It was question 17. Okay. All right. So let me share my work screen here so you guys can kind of see. Here we go. Movie recording. All right. So they said I used a Venn diagram for this. We had a car and a computer, and they said they shared a 55% probability of owning both. So what I did is I put it right in the middle. Now, we talked about this last time too. 65% was a car. What we had to do is to get that 10%, you had to take the 65% and minus the 55% to get that 10%. Okay. And then same thing over here to get that 27%, we had to take the 82 and minus the 55 to get the 27. Now, if you guys remember Venn diagrams, 10 plus 55 plus 27 gives me 92. So the Venn diagram only represents 92% probability. We always want to make sure we have 100% probability. So there's 8% left over, and that 8% left over needs to make sure it's in the box. And what that box represents and what this 8% represents is the probability of not owning a core computer. All right? It's outside the probability of either. So the question says, what is the probability that a selected student owns a car or a computer? What you're going to be looking at is the total probability of both. So the 92% is the probability of owning a car or computer. And 92%, if you turn that into a fraction, so you could have 92% or you could have 23 over 25. Okay, they mean the same thing. So when we do that problem, now I believe some of you guys got it wrong because you put the format wrong, which is fine. If I look here, yeah, some of you guys got this right. It's just, it was just the way you put it in. So I'll have to go back and change those answers. All right. So for those who got 0.92 or 0.08, 23 out of 25, 2 out of 25, good job. All right. But there was a few of you that didn't, and that's why I just want to make sure we clarified that. All right. Totals. Let's see here. Anybody has questions on that, please let me know. Again, creating a picture, creating a diagram, creating tables is very important when doing these probability statements. And based off that, for everyone that finished it, this is all I wanted to go over. There was like 2 things that I saw that was really just out of the ordinary. So I'm going to stop sharing there for a second. I'm going to leave the floor open before I even talk about anything. Does anybody have any questions about the rest of the semester, the extra credit, the assignments, this material? I'm open the floor for questions now. If you have a question, it's probably the same question as someone else. Don't be afraid to ask. You can type in the chat if you're worried about I'm saying it's anything. It doesn't matter. I'll give you guys the floor for a few minutes here if you guys have questions.
I have a question.
Yeah, Jayon, how's it going?
Hello. Okay, so I'm wondering how will this online school stuff affect my GPA?
So, I don't know if you missed the first part. It's just, so what we're doing right now is the same thing we were doing in class. So it's not a different class. It's not a different grade. All it's doing is, and the policy came out before spring break. I'll explain it again. Here is March 12th or March 13th is when grades, what we had in the grade book before we left for this digital learning, cannot be lowered at all. So for instance, Jan, let's say you had an 85 in class. I don't even know what you have. I'm just pointing that out there. If you had an 85 in class before March 12th or on March 12th, your 85 cannot drop. But what they're saying is you run at risk if you don't do anything. But I know you've joined classes, you've done your work, so you're fine. But for those who are not doing anything, run at risk to get an incomplete on their grade, which means they would have to retake the semester over. So the question you have is your GPA, how is it going to affect it? Well, really, it's only going to help you. So if you're participating in this, doing the work, your, let's say 80, quote unquote, 85 can only go up. So you can get this to a 90, a 95 if you do the work well.
Mm-hmm.
So the only thing that's affecting your grade is positively affecting it.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for asking that question.
Mr. B,
Yes, Janaya.
when we have work that we went back and completed, do we email it to you to let you know that we completed it?
Yes, please. So when you complete it, or let's say you had an assignment that was a 70% and I put that in the grade book and you went back and got it to 100, just email me the title of the thing you completed so that I can go back and fix it. Otherwise, I won't be able to see it, and I'm not able to go through every assignment every single day for 180 some student, 140, 50, how many I got again students. So again, if you guys completed something later, that's fine. Just make sure you email me. You can message me on Edmodo, however you guys want to do it. Remind. Just let me know, and I'll get to it as soon as I can.
Alrighty. Thank
Good
you.
question. Thank you. Any other questions?
No.
Okay.
Wait, do we have any work for this week?
Yeah, I haven't submitted anything yet. I just like to talk before I submit stuff. This week, what I'm going to put on is I'm going to put a live class on again, just so if anybody missed the live class, they can view it. But this week's main, here, I'll show you what's called. It is called, it is 15 questions. Let me show you guys what it looks like. And it's mainly on one concept of probability, but there's a couple other questions here. All right. You guys, yeah, there we go. I don't know why I did that. Okay. So what it is all the videos are right here. So you guys can just watch the videos if you have questions on each concept. They're all YouTube links. So you just click the YouTube link. It'll take you to the video that we used before. Here's our online calculator you guys can use. So you guys just use this online calculator, type away, and however you guys want to use it. We do have a quick quizzes link. It is timed. So I want you guys to just type your name in and do your best. It's kind of like just check your knowledge, see how well you guys can do. So go ahead and log in there and do that as well. Make sure your name's on there. And then there's 15 questions. Okay, all these 15 questions are questions we pulled from like test-like questions. And this will be a grade. So make sure you guys are going back. If you have questions on these concepts, to go back and look over probability. So this week, the main focus is probability. Excuse me. And then the next few weeks, what we're going to do is we're going to focus on main standards on second semester. So the only true assignment that you guys have is this and USA Test Prep. And remember, USA Test Prep is extra credit, and it is due at the end of the month. Questions on the assignments?
Hi, I have a question. Mr.
Yeah,
Ladar.
Jordan.
Okay, so how does extra credit work if nothing can? Is extra credit like making up like lower grades?
Yeah, so the extra credit that we assigned you, and this was assigned like right when all this is happening, so we just left it up there. So the USA Test Prep is going to affect some of those grades that you guys did poorly on. And what it's going to do is, so let's say one of your test scores were low, we would bring that up. Or let's say you had a few classwork assignments that are low, we would bring that up. The main focus is these are the extra credit above and beyond the stuff we're giving you is going to help those lower grades. The things that we're giving you right now is going in the grade book. So it's not affecting the other grades, if that makes sense.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm sure that makes sense then. Anybody else have a question on all that work? A lot of you guys are doing a great job. Yeah.
Okay, so you said for the extra credit, okay, say if we get 100 on one of the assignments, you'll plug in that 100 to something, to a grade that was bad?
So that extra credit that we assigned before, yes, it will affect your previous grades. It won't go in as like a new grade.
No, I'm saying, will you put that 100 in to replace that low grade?
It's not gonna go in as a straight 100. What we're gonna do is probably going to average the two. It's gonna bring it up. So it's not like your 50% in a test is not gonna go straight to 100%.
All right.
But it will bring your grade up.
Okay.
Good question. I had a couple questions for people that had troubles logging in to USA Test Prep. Remember, all you had to do was go into your Fulton County Launchpad. Let me, so remember right here, your ClassLink Launchpad. And on the bottom right is the USA Test Prep. Now remember, once you log in, you are not in the class. I gave you the directions to join You guys have to find my class. Make sure you find my capital name, Zach Blindauer. And again, I have those in directions in the assignment schedule. So go to USA Test Prep, and once you go in there, you have to find the class to find that extra credit. All right. Otherwise, everything that we've given you guys is in your GoFormative. So when you log into GoFormative, you guys will see all the digital learning things right here. And remember, if it's completed, you will see on your screen a completed or submitted on the right-hand side. There's only 2 platforms that you guys really have work on. And one is the main thing, which is GoFormative, and the rest is on that extra credit is on USA Test Prep. All right. Anybody else have questions on what's going on or any comments, questions, concerns? Because from the last assignment, everyone who did it did a great job. There was a couple things I wanted to look at before you guys move on. This is your time to ask questions.
Blender, I don't have a question. I just want to let you know that I was here. I came a little late, but I just wanted to let you know that I was here because I don't know if it gave you, like, notified you that I was here or not. So
I got you, Dominique.
okay, thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else? You guys are all quiet again. Quiet souls. Let's see here. Okay. Well, if no one has questions, I do want to say a couple things before we'll let you guys go get these things done. I am going to pull up the assignment calendar one more time here. Again, for most of you guys who are in the chat right now, I have been doing a very good job. But I would like you guys to help me out a little bit here. And if you know someone that's not participating, or if there's someone saying I ain't doing the work, please let them know what we talked about today. I don't want anybody slacking off. I know this is a hard time for some of us, so please help each other out as much as possible. But again, I will send this assignment calendar out again. Remember, everything in yellow is past due. And everything in yellow is on GoFormative. So again, if you missed it, go back. It's fine. Finish it, please. And then email me. Tell me the title that you finished so I can finish the grade for you guys. All right. Again, here's the instructions. You need to find my name in caps. Find the class for that extra credit. It's in blue here. Okay. Everything else is in GoFormative. I appreciate for all you guys that are working. I truly appreciate you staying on top of it, asking questions, emailing me. And, it's great. I truly appreciate that. I just want to keep saying that. Makes my job easier instead of trying to find you guys and reach out to you guys. So with that being said, right now, that last time you guys did very well. Truly impressed. Keep up the good work. I will post it in a couple seconds here after we get offline. I will post this live class again on GoFormative. If you guys want to share any comments, if you missed anything from the class, go ahead and share it on there and I'll read them. I read all the comments. It's funny how some of you guys say do less work. There's not much work, trust me. We've kept it minimum. Like this week, you only have to answer 15 questions. So if you guys have been staying on top of your work, hopefully this has been an easy workload, so you guys can focus on other things, focus on family, focusing on yourself, and then doing other classes. Again, before we leave, please just take care of yourself, take care of your family, be safe, stay on top of the news, make sure you guys are watching, make sure you guys are staying on top of this. If you have questions, you guys can always reach out, email me. You can send me messages on the GoFormative. But again, I want to say one more time, thank you guys for those who are participating and asking questions. You guys are awesome. Keep up the good work, and then you'll see the assignments in a couple seconds here. All right. So if anybody's got nothing else, thank you all for joining. I got all 26 of you on here. So I'll make sure I put that down, and you guys will get points for today, extra credit points. All right. guys have a great day. Thank you for joining. If you have questions, just let me know, all right? Take care, everyone.
Okay, Blindy, thanks.
Have a good day, Dominique.
Okay, you too.